Hello and welcome. I'm Kathy and thank you for joining me here today. Just going to say that the fact that you're joining me here on this call today most likely means that you're ready. You're ready and at a point in your life where your heart is yearning to express something new. But first, just a little about me. I live in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a wife, mum, small business owner. And for most of my life, you could say I've been intuitive. My intuition has guided me in all areas of my life. And it's where it's led me today. Today, I work helping people reverse the effects of stress. I'm a registered meditation teacher, HeartMath Trainer, NLP Master Practitioner and Life Coach. My life's work is geared towards helping people not only to reverse the effects of stress, but to help develop intuition. So with that, I'd like to talk with you today about one of the most common complaints I hear people speak of. And that is generally around their lack of energy. One of the steps in this skill set is how to stop energy drains. You see, every day we wake up with a certain amount of energy. Basically, we are energy systems that expend and renew energy. In order to remain healthy and resilient, we have to manage how we spend our energy. Even at the most basic physiological level, our metabolism converts the food we eat into usable energy. So we are constantly expending and renewing energy. We're quite good at the energy expenditure part of the process, not so good at the energy renewing part of this process. In this presentation, we will look at 3 steps to a powerful skill set to help you thrive in a world of flux, change, challenge, and opportunity. As I look around, and probably you too, life is not slowing down. In fact, it's fair to say it's getting faster. And our children are being born into this high, fast-paced living. We are told to slow down and find balance. It's not that simple. COVID-19 may be a pandemic in the world at this present time, but stress has been classified as an epidemic of the 21st century. The shocking facts indicate that 70% of visits to the doctor are stress-related, yet only a minimal 3% are offered stress management. We need to get smarter in how we manage our stress. We need to learn and understand what is happening in our mind and in our body when stress occurs. And we need to have the tools to adequately manage our stress and manage our personal energy. So let's look at this a little bit closer. So when we start talking about energy, what are we really talking about? We use the term energy with an understanding of its reference to how we are feeling. We might say, I'm feeling flat if your energy level is low. Or you might find yourself getting things done, so to speak, when your energy levels are high. But what exactly are we referring to? I'd like to ask you a question. Think of a situation or event that irritates you. It could be a particular issue at work. And notice your response to the irritation when your energy is flat. What do you notice? Perhaps it feels like it gets under your skin. And how long do you find yourself playing over the irritation in your mind long after it's occurred? And now think of the same situation or event when your energy is charged. How do you respond in that moment? Do you notice that perhaps it's like maybe water off a duck's back? You brush it aside and tend not to pay too much attention to it. It's interesting, isn't it? Same event, different response. So what this shows us is how we perceive and experience the world around us very much is dependent on our inner stores of energy. Because when we have energy, it means we have the necessary resource available to us to draw on. We've got the energy there. Energy is available to us to maintain composure, to think clearly and make conscious decisions. But if our energy tanks are depleted, the energy is not there, we have nothing to draw on, so we become reactive, saying something we don't necessarily mean, for example. So basically there are 4 types of energy. We've got physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And energy reserves within each domain means that you have more to draw on when you need it. Now let me give you an example. In the case of our physical domain, energy capacity would mean your physical strength or endurance. So it's like, think of how far you can run, for example, how much weight you can lift. When you go to the gym, all right, and you're starting an exercise program for the first time. So you might start with a low weight, yeah? And then over time, you're able to increase how much weight you can lift in an exercise. Perhaps you start on a treadmill and you find yourself walking for a kilometre or mile. And then over a little bit of time, you find yourself able to increase that length of time in your walking and distance to the point of building up enough capacity to even jog for 5Ks, for instance. So we have this ability within us to build our capacity, to build our store of energy. And it's the same in all the other domains as well. When we come to look at our mental domain, mental energy is reflecting of our attention span, our ability to focus. When we draw on mental energy to think, problem solve, incorporate multiple points of view, and to have the mental flexibility. Through meditation, you are able to strengthen the neural structures, train the mind, and harness thought energy. When we look at our emotional domain, our emotional energy provides us with a positive outlook, emotional flexibility, and the ability to self-regulate. Through emotional fitness, you become more skilled at riding the wave of emotion, not as likely to become stuck in a type of low mood, for example. And when we look at our spiritual domain, our spiritual energy provides one with a commitment to values and tolerance of other people's values and beliefs. Spiritual essence provides a strong source of energy when tapped into. Speaking personally, I know I have relied on my spiritual energy when all other domains of energy were empty. An example of how our energy can be drained across all 4 domains could look something like this. So say, for example, I'm feeling overwhelmed and anxious. That will be my emotional domain. Because I'm thinking of all the things I have to do, which is my mental domain. I begin to experience tension headaches, stiffness in my neck and shoulders. Physical domain, which is causing me pain and sensation in my body. And then the experience of this pain makes me grumpy, so to speak. I'm less tolerant. My spiritual domain. And I may snap at my children or my work colleagues. So we see how our energy domains are interconnected. The area in which most of us tend to waste a lot of energy and deplete our internal reserves is the emotional domain. The 3 steps to a powerful skill set to help you thrive in a world of flux, change, challenge, and opportunity is in the Recharge You formula. Let's have a look at that now. Physiologically speaking, we are designed to function and operate with two families of emotions, depleting and renewing. And what I'd like to share with you now is the difference between depleting and renewing emotions. You see, our emotions have a powerful effect on our physiology, even more so than our thoughts. And as humans, we are capable of experiencing a whole array of emotions, positive, negative, good or bad. They're all in the same bag. Some emotions we experience can uplift us. They can give us a sense of motivation and courage and self-confidence to move forward in the world. Different types of emotions can have more of a depleting effect on the body. They're the type that leave us feeling flat, drained, and unenthused. Either way, it's our emotions that deplete the body of energy or renew our body of energy. And it's our emotions that actively drive our physiology, driving activity in both our hormonal and nervous systems. It's our emotions that actively release hormones in the body. And different types of emotions set off in motion a whole cascade of biochemical changes, directing our body to either speed up and use more energy or to slow down and conserve energy. Either way, though, our emotions are the drivers of our physiology. Let's take a moment and look at depleting emotions. These are the types of feelings or attitudes that drain the body of energy, like worry, upset, irritation, frustration. These types of emotions set off a whole cascade of over 1,400 hormones, one of them commonly known as cortisol, our stress hormone. And once cortisol is released in the body, it remains active for up to 12 hours. The problem happens when we experience ongoing release of this type of biochemical change in the body. So if we have, for example, one big emotional upset, we have the stress response released and active in the body for up to 12 hours. But the body processes that and over time dilutes it and the body recovers. Like, how do you feel after you've had a really good cry? Yeah, you probably have this sense of relief, but you also feel tired and you most likely have a lie down. But if we are experiencing ongoing arising of frustration or the ongoing arising of anxiety, each time we feel that cortisol is being released and it overproduces, it has this accumulative effect. And this accumulative effect in the body is what's detrimental to our health and well-being. We begin to suffer from the sleeplessness, the restlessness, hypertension, hypersensitivity and the sort. So over the next few days, start to observe any situation that causes these little stress responses. And notice the feeling active in your body in that moment. And what are you currently doing to handle that? So a good example would be perhaps you find yourself in a bit of traffic and you're running late for work. And notice what feeling is present, perhaps anxiousness. And what's your current strategy? Like, do you just stay dwelling on that, or perhaps you might call ahead to work and let them know? Or what if you're not getting enough sleep? How does that make you feel? Is it just adding more frustration, more fuel to the fire, so to speak? So what this exercise helps to do is to bring situations or events into awareness. You might be surprised to find situations that tend to waste a lot of energy unnecessarily. Think of a common response people have in traffic jams. Irritation, frustration. And just think, does this feeling move the traffic any faster? And ask, whose energy is being drained? We have to identify the source of energy drains first in order to stop the energy drains. It's not only the big energy expenditure that depletes your energy. More energy is actually being depleted because of the accumulation of the more subtle feelings, the little ones of sadness and worry. But they add up to big energy drains at the end of the day. Subtle, depleting emotions that run quietly in the background, slowly and quietly, drain your inner battery. Let's contrast that to renewing emotions, a different set of emotions. Feelings and attitudes such as appreciation, gratitude, care, a sense of joyousness, love, and connection. These types of emotions set in motion a different set of hormones released in the body. One of these being a prominent player is DHEA, known as our vitality hormone. Now, if we could bottle this, wouldn't that be flying off the shelf? But instead, we have actually our own inner pharmacy. And it's about learning how we can tap into our body and manufacture this for yourself naturally. DHEA, our vitality hormone, gives us a strong sense of renewing, revitalizing, and energizing. Helps us feel like we can move forward and recover from. These types of emotions build our resiliency and rejuvenate us mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. But how often in your day are you recognizing inner ease? There are times when we have experienced feeling in sync and flowing through our day with a sense of ease. And when we are in a coherent flow, things that come up just don't seem to get under our skin quite as much. We have energy to draw on. And this seems to pass, things seem to pass by seamlessly. We flow through our day, we flow around issues. And from an energy management perspective, when you experience renewing emotions such as appreciation, such as care and integrity and compassion, your physiology is naturally more coherent and energy smart. What I'd like to recommend here for you is over the next day or so, start to notice situations or interactions and their corresponding feelings that renew you and recharge your inner battery. Like, for example, how do you feel when you're hanging out with friends? And notice feelings of appreciation or happiness. Or perhaps acknowledge in some way, how you feel when you're being acknowledged in some way for doing a good job. And feelings of confidence and a sense of accomplishment. Or perhaps notice how you feel when you are serving others. The renewing feeling of pride, being fulfilled, or a sense of honor. And step 3, have energy for the things that you love and need to do. You can strengthen your inner architecture and reorientate your hormone and biochemical production towards efficient energy management. This step is all about maintenance of our personal energy. So the $1 million question, how do we maintain our energy? We turn to the breath. When we take a conscious breath, science has demonstrated that when we set our attention and focus to a particular area of the body, physiological changes actually occur in that area of the body. So you taking one conscious breath gives your body a sense of strength that endures. And this is where we begin to practice a technique called focused breathing. and we focus our attention in the area of the heart. Why? As it's been demonstrated that when we set our focus and attention to an area of the heart or the body, it helps to enable the heart to shift into a more balanced state. But we remind ourselves that breathing is just the first step in what we call the coherence building process. Life certainly can get messy, and at times, one of life's greatest challenges is how to enjoy it. The skill is in how we approach life situations and challenges that unexpectedly or even unwantedly cross our paths. There are 3 possible ways to respond to distressing circumstances. We can fight, we can flee, or we can allow. And when we fight or tense up, the tensing itself tends to increase pain. We can avoid or flee the problem by sedating, dissociating, or even wishing problems away or asking why. Or we can take a mindful approach of allowing. Allowing or accepting means that we stop struggling and trying to fix problems and simply hold them in a kind awareness. As we stop the struggling and trying to fix problems, we gain a different perspective, an inner peace and confidence that we can handle anything that life throws our way. Not many people today understand the science of breathing we should all know and practice. Oxygen renews our blood and brings life to all our organs. It's the air that gives us balance. A coherence-building breathing practice keeps our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual functions in good order. Your mind-body is a storehouse of energy. It's like an inner battery, providing energy available to you not only physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And when you have a fully charged inner battery, you have greater capacity to remain calm, think clearly, and be in control of your emotions so you don't overreact. You can more easily roll with the punches and flow through challenges rather than become stressed out, which only further drains your body of energy. It's very similar to a drained car battery. When your inner battery is depleted, there isn't any energy to draw from when you need it, making it really difficult to be at your best and respond well in tough and sometimes very ordinary situations. You may also end up draining even more energy unnecessarily. In the end, it can also affect the people around you. So establish your place of center. Stop the energy drains, build the energy gains, and have energy for the things that you need and love to do. Create an inner pause and foster present centeredness. It's like flexing a muscle. The more you do it, the more it's readily available to you. It helps to change the trajectory of an outcome, conserve unnecessary energy expenditure, and helps you to appropriate action, connection to values, and living in alignment. We remind ourselves that everything is movement and energy, and life is always full of distractions and interruptions. That's a given. All of your thoughts and feelings are constantly being expressed outward through the body. And whether you realize it or not, you are broadcasting. And what you are broadcasting can actually be felt and detected by others. So living life actively engaged in connection to an embodied self and bringing more of you forward in your day. How does stress affect the body? It simply drains us of energy, which robs us of our effectiveness and clarity. when we are in a state of coherence, when we are cognitively sharp, emotionally calm, and we feel and think with enhanced clarity, the brain, heart, and nervous systems are working in harmony. This state of coherence facilitates our cognitive functioning. We are actually operating at peak performance mentally, emotionally, and physically. Yet the small stresses accumulate quickly, and we may not realize how much these impair our mental and emotional clarity and our overall health until it shows up as a bad decision, say, or an overreaction, or even an unwanted diagnosis at the doctor's office. The best way to deal with stress is to deal with it in the very moment you feel it come up. Don't stress out all day believing that you can recover and wait until, your evening yoga class or the gym or chilling out on the weekend. Your body doesn't care if it's a big stress or a little stress. Either way, stress is active in the body. Stress can make smart people do dumb things. And on the same hand, people can become numb to their stress. So the good news is we can control how we respond to stress. And the best strategy is to handle stress in the moment. So 2020 has been a disruptive year. We have seen a year of great uncertainty, and now more than ever find ourselves being called upon to adapt our everyday way of being. Never before has there been such a collective movement that asks for mindful vigilance and personal hygiene, social distancing, and consideration. A new kind of mindful preparedness has been employed as a protective measure to preserve, at best, our overall state of health and safety. If you would like to learn more about how you can employ these practices to help you navigate rapidly changing times, please reach out. Please email me at kathyjerin@mail.com. And I thank you for joining me on this call today.